Story 1. Shadows of the Silent Night. In the dim-lit corridors of our game development office in Orlando, Florida, the air was thick with tension. As the clock relentlessly ticked towards a looming deadline, I found myself chained to my desk, navigating the labyrinth of code and graphics. The weight of stress pressed upon my shoulders, and the need for more time kept me tethered to the office until late into the night. It was a Wednesday, a night painted in shadows and drowned in the incessant rhythm of raindrops. The outside world succumbed to the impenetrable darkness, interrupted only by occasional lightning strikes that briefly illuminated the eerie silence. The rhythmic drumming of rain against my office window became a strange symphony, somehow aiding my concentration in the desolation. Chas, my coworker, was the lone soul sharing this nocturnal struggle. With the clock inching past 8, he completed his tasks and, with a casual knock on my door, announced his departure into the obsidian night. The echoing slam of the office door sealed my solitude. Our office, shaped like an ominous L, concealed me in the corner, isolated from the entrance at the far end. To fend off the encroaching weariness, I ventured to the kitchen for a jolt of caffeine. Leaning against the counter, awaiting the coffee's warmth, my solitude was pierced by an unexpected sound, the distinct closing of a door. Unease crept into my consciousness as I cautiously peered into the hallway, calling out into the void, receiving no reply. It wasn't the grand entrance door. It sounded like one of the smaller private office doors. A sense of paranoia gripped me as I checked every locked door along the labyrinthine halls. Reaching my corner, I found all 3 doors shut, including mine. Confusion gnawed at my senses. I distinctly left my door ajar. No draft lingered in the still air. All windows were securely sealed. A shiver crawled down my spine as I entertained the thought of a sinister presence lingering within the office. Summoning my courage, I flung open my office door, half expecting a prankster's leap, but nothing. The room lay as I left it, yet a peculiar unease lingered. My attention returned to the coding, attempting to dismiss the inexplicable occurrence. As the night deepened, the rain persisted in its relentless dance with the window, and the occasional lightning continued its sporadic revelations. Closing time approached, and with a sense of accomplishment, I saved my work, initiating the shutdown sequence. The screen darkened, and in its reflection, I glimpsed her. A woman stood silently behind me, her presence a chilling apparition. How I contained my terror, I cannot fathom, but my heart plummeted. Without looking back, I calmly rose, bag in hand, and walked to the door. Fear gripped me, yet I dared not acknowledge the specter, leaving the office without glancing back. Down the hall, I quickened my pace, fleeing the ominous space. Rain soaked me as I sprinted down the stairs and reached my car. Terror clung to me, an invisible pursuer lurking in the shadows. Safe within my car, I dared a glance at the office window. The light still burned within, and a subtle disturbance in the blinds hinted at a presence observing. In panic, I contacted Miranda, one of my bosses, who assured me that no one else should have been there. That night, security patrolled the deserted office, finding nothing. I recounted my harrowing encounter to Miranda, and even she, a stalwart figure, felt a shiver down her spine. The lone camera in our office failed to capture the mysterious woman, leaving an unsettling mystery in the wake of that fateful rainy night. Story 2. Haunting Nightfall. The tempestuous dance of thunderstorms held a peculiar allure for me, a fascination passed down to my 6-year-old son. Whenever the heavens unleashed their fury, we found solace beneath the backyard gazebo, a haven where raindrops composed a haunting melody on warm, stormy August nights in Florida. As lightning painted the living room with its initial stroke, my son, a pint-sized enthusiast of storms, leaped with infectious excitement. "Let's go sit outside," he exclaimed, and I, caught in the thrill of the moment, followed him into the rain-soaked backyard. Our sanctuary beneath the gazebo boasted a mini bar, wicker sofas, a TV, and a modest fire pit. In customary fashion, I ignited the fire and powered up the TV, and together we reclined, enveloped by the rhythmic symphony of rain and relentless thunder. The storm intensified, the lightning growing brighter and the thunder closing in. The backyard, vast and shrouded in woods, became an eerie canvas illuminated by each flash. In the midst of the storm's crescendo, my son's joyful squeal abruptly shifted the atmosphere. His tiny finger pointed towards the yard, claiming to have seen someone. I rose, skepticism in tow, approaching the gazebo's edge. The pitch-black darkness concealed any signs of intrusion. Waiting for the next lightning flash, my eyes strained to pierce the night. And then, in that electrifying brilliance, I saw it. An eerie figure stood near the woods at the edge of my property. Alarmed, I instructed my son to rush inside and illuminate the backyard. 10 seconds later, the yard bathed in light, yet the mysterious presence had vanished. Uncertainty clung to me. Someone had wandered through my domain, leaving only an unsettling mystery in their wake. I secured the house, locking all doors, and left the backyard lights ablaze. The facade of normalcy prevailed as I reassured my wife, concealing the unsettling truth. Together, we settled into the living room, attempting to drown our unease in a movie. However, the night's peace shattered when my son, preparing for bedtime, uttered words that sent shivers down our spines. A figure, he claimed, loitered outside his window. Fear gripped the room as my wife and I exchanged glances of disbelief. In defiance of trepidation, I armed myself with a baseball bat and ventured into the storm-laden night. I combed through every corner, checking under tables, beneath the gazebo, and beyond the deck. The relentless rain masked my apprehension as I searched for the elusive intruder. My heart raced as I approached the final side of the house. There, in the blinding light of a lightning flash, I caught a glimpse of a hooded figure peering from around the corner. A scream escaped my lips as I pursued, bat raised in hand. Yet, upon reaching the spot, the intruder had vanished, leaving behind an unsettling void. Returning inside, I assured my family that the threat had been repelled. But my wife's unease persisted, fueled by the revelation that it was a man. Determined to shield our sanctuary, I secured every blind, and thankfully, the night passed without further disturbance. My son sought solace in our bed that night, the terror of a faceless intruder etched into his young mind. The storm, once a source of fascination, had birthed a nightmare that lingered in the shadows of our uneasy sleep. Story 3. A Haunting Call. Amidst the chill of a wet winter day in the Midwest, my junior year in high school unfolded in a tapestry of academics, varsity sports, and familial complexities. Struggling to carve out moments for myself, the demanding schedule provided a sanctuary from the recent parting of my parents and the absence of my older brother, who had ventured off to college. In the solitude of our middle-class two-story home, with an unfinished basement, I sought refuge in what I dubbed Quinn's office. The sole survivor of my father's past work-from-home era, it served as my personal haven. This was the backdrop for a night that blurred the lines between reality and the inexplicable. After a rigorous day of school and swimming practice, I returned home to an empty house, my dad presumably at swim practice with Rice, my little brother. As I descended into the dimly lit basement, the only occupied space in our home, I flicked on the CFL light, the only beacon in the sea of shadows. The glow revealed a familiar scene: concrete floors, unattached carpet samples, and the hum of the computer. With hours of homework ahead, I immersed myself in typing an essay on hedonism and the picture of Dorian Gray. An ordinary night unfolded, or so it seemed. Out of the enveloping darkness, Rise's voice pierced through the silence, calling me by the nickname only family used. "Quinny, Quinny, come up." Almost instinctively, I responded, only to realize that I hadn't heard him come home. No response to my inquiry, only the echo of his voice lingering in the eerie basement. Again, the sing-song plea reached me. "Quinny, Quinny, come up." The strangeness of it gnawed at me. He should have been at swim practice. Ignoring the delicate family dynamics, I decided to investigate. As I ascended the basement staircase, the echoing calls persisted. "Riss, what's up? I'm really busy." The main floor offered no sign of him. No shoes, no backpack. Puzzled, I ruled out the possibility of his presence at home. Satisfied that my father must be out picking him up, I turned back for the stairs, only to be greeted by the haunting call once more. "Quinny, Quinny, come up." The inexplicable nature of it seized me, and every instinct screamed that something wasn't right. I called out to Rays once more, my heart pounding, but silence engulfed me. Until, calmly and without the sing-song intonation, his voice echoed those haunting words. "Quinny, Quinny, come up." Bewildered, I began the ascent, each step echoing with dread. The garage door buzzed to life. Panic gripped me as I raced back downstairs, glancing out the window. There in the driveway was my father sitting, and both he and Race emerged. I stumbled to the hall, where they would enter, my heart near cessation. Collapsed on the floor, tears streamed uncontrollably. The inexplicable calls from the darkness, the illusion of a brother in need, had unraveled my composure. In that moment, the boundary between the tangible and the otherworldly blurred, leaving me haunted by an encounter that defied explanation.